My name is Winston Dynamite Brown, and this is
Oh, and I'm Latara Wilson, and we are both co-founders and co-artistic directors of the Dynamite Experience.
yes, and we were honored to be a part of the choreographic team and performance team for the Soil Beneath project. It was a great ask and opportunity by our brother Chesney Snow to invite us to participate and contribute to his choreo poem.
Mhm. I know Chesney through Winston.
And I met Chesney through a mutual colleague, Becca Aarons. We danced together with Sean Curran back in the day, and they created another show that he produced and wrote, and she did the choreography for. And another dancer, Malik Washington, was the original dancer. He couldn't make that particular run, and so I came in and filled in as the male counterpart to Becca's role. And we did that Dixon Place, and so we've maintained. I think we did that. I did two iterations of that with them, and we've just kind of stayed in contact since then. And since that project, we've always known that we kind of gelled and really collaborated well together. We knew that we wanted to do something. It was just a matter of time. So when he came to us with this, we were like, absolutely, we have to try to do it at least. The process, okay, so we're a collaborative team, you know what I mean? So either I'm producing the work and she's generating the movement or vice versa. And so in this particular round, I took the reins as a producer. And so, because she learns a lot faster and retains a lot better. So it was better given the time constraint that I produce and trust her brain, and we can do that. And as far as the process, um, once we were able to establish where we were needed to contribute, then we were able to try to really kind of break down and dissect where we thought the jewels existed inside of his work, ways in which we could accent, highlight, give visual sculpture to what he's doing. And so we just tried our best from the beginning. We were like, Chesney, we're just going to try to contribute and just give visual aid. And that was overall our intention and how we tried to generate our material.
And there was so much room and inspiration within the words that he was putting on through the poems and through the characters, kind of inspired us and fed his creativity.
I kept reminding myself that it was a choreo poem. So the words were the things that was going to be driving this. So the choreo had to assist the poetry. So for me, the words were the most important thing, and I really want to just kind of elevate and support that. So what I did was I listened to they had
A reading.
a reading, and so we would just kind of listen to the cadence in which they read it, right? And there were things that were kind of jolt out, ways in which different emphasis they would put on it, if you will. And so that kind of led us to what was important, what would be most impactful, where should we land what we're trying to do and what we're trying to say, and see where we can match up with what they're doing. And as far as the music, um, we just kind of allow that to guide us emotionally.
Yeah.
We in our company, we use music very much as like a sound score. We love movies, and so music tells you how you feel. Are you excited? Are you sad? Are you afraid? You know what I mean? And even what we like even more sometimes is when there's happy music happening, but the most depressing, sad, aggressive things are happening. So we use the music to kind of guide us how we wanted to play. Did we want to ride the emotional wave? Did we want to counter it? Did we want to completely ignore it and only hyper focus on the words and allow those things to be backgrounds? And so after having conversations with the director and with the choreographer, with the director and Chesney, the writer, and really kind of getting a sense of how they view the dance, supporting it, that we just went from there.
I think it's like poetry. Like there's a flow to it. There's definitely meaning behind it. I feel like that is what the choreography.
I mean, we're old enough we start when we were dancing, they were still doing lyrical dancing.
Yeah.
You understand? And so we grew up being driven physically by storytelling, you know, so the lyrics, you know, and so you have opportunities. You mime it, we have all these opportunities. So it was, choreo poem for us was no different than having physical movement that not mimed or mimicked what was happening, but really kind of emotionally supported what the poem was. Because for me, the words are important in poetry, but kind of, you know, when you listen to the flow of it, though, even the way that they put it on paper kind of tells you how this is meant to flow. And so as a choreographer, having those kinds of, that kind of structure really aided us a lot. And so when you're watching it, a choreo poem is just kind of the marriage between dance and poetry, the most long-winded way possible to say that. Because we're doing most of this from a still place, meaning there was no real close-ups, no real particular angles they were focusing on outside of what the editing people will do, we definitely approached it more in a proscenium sense, so that the whole of it was considered. And then in doing that, we were entrusting with our consideration of the architecture and the integrity of it, that they will have ample opportunities to make choice positioning of the cameras should they choose to. I'm such, okay, so in all honesty, I agreed to do it before I even read it, just because I wanted to work with Chesney. So once I read it and I realized that it dealt a lot with the Orange Man and COVID and things of that nature, because we've said from the beginning that we wanted no part of a COVID work. You know, just because the world is going to be inundated with people doing works in response to it, and we would be more. And so where we found solace in this work is that it wasn't about it, but more in response to it. It dealt with how the relationship between how life continues to happen and how you're still continuing to work on you despite or in spite of what's happening around you. And as choreographers, we love reflecting or really dissecting the human condition or the experience. And so we were able to kind of really focus on the relationship between those two beings, then the real arc of the whole story.
Well, I know for White Voices, because it was going back from, it's just lines that people are saying about, well, Black people are always sick and all these other things. We didn't learn the lines, but we would sit and we'll say them and kind of figure out some kind of movement to go with it. So I guess that's how we kind of got into that back and forth, like a conversation for us.
Yeah, we really try to break down which moments were intimate versus which moments needed to have a full body experience. As far as we love structure of work and theme and variation. So as we read through it, we were like, what is the theme of this whole work? What things are repetitive and exist throughout? What are the through lines? We tried to find through lines, and it's not a linear work, so we knew that it wouldn't be this kind of arcing thing, but we had to find moments that we could kind of play the physical bridge between these various worlds. And so for us, this, for me, dance is abstract, but this means COVID.
And for me, this was people talking.
See? Yeah. And, or which not listening. And so we use them interchangeably. There's what I'm interested in to see what the audiences take from is there's moments of collapsing.
Yeah, I was just about to say the different signs.
The different signs in which, there's a shifting. There's, I think, 3 moments that happen in the work where we try to physically embody the collapsing, the colliding, these kind of being the physical example of what these titles mean. So I'm interested in seeing how they respond to those. And I wonder if there's any other thematic gestures they should be looking out for. I can't think.
Yeah. I mean, Caroline, but that was just for me.
That's just for
That
you,
was just for me.
because we also didn't do a lot of things together. So if there are thematic moments, it'll just be a lot of stuff that comes in and out of her work. I would just encourage everybody to just watch her, watch what she's doing and how she's doing it. That's what I would be doing. We did this in a very short period of time, and I'm always in awe and what she's able to produce and commit to.
I felt that Henrietta with the choreography and the words meshed really well for me. So even though we wasn't trying to be literal, some of the movement and the way the words and where it end as far as the steps kind of gave a through line for me and made Henrietta enjoyable to do because it flowed and the choreography was.
We got lucky because I have been accused of being quite gestural in my move. I like not a lot of arms, but I do like intricate, very specific, nuanced movement. And Chesney's work is nuanced and arcing, and it takes you different places and retreats and goes in, and there's just almost like he's peering in, and that really speaks to how we like to create. So we got lucky.
Very, because it was a beautiful mesh.
It happened very organically.
The music and the.
Now we don't know if it worked. We just had a good time.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Blood on the Seat is. You talking about Watch Me? Blood on the Seat is, by all means, really good with the poetry, the music, and the choreography, and the way he portrayed it is. I'm interested to see what that's going to.
She's so nice.
Oh,
I mean, we were telling Chesney from the beginning, whatever iteration however it exists after this, we would love to be a part of it. I think that it has legs. I think that, we would just love to be a part of it. But knowing that it was just the first stage, it gave us a little bit more freedom to make different choices, to take greater risk, knowing that we would only help him more if we gave our best, if we pushed it, because we felt as when we were reading that he was pushing himself. You know what I mean? I saw some evolution from the last work to this. And so we wanted to also elevate and push ourselves as well. And so we look forward to any new iteration of this, and hopefully we can be involved.
Yeah.
But we were definitely grateful to be a part of this version. You know, anytime you can be a part of the foundation of something and to give something, because this is his baby, you know what I mean, to give it, some limbs, where he gave it, all the working parts, just put some legs on it, if you will, was fun for us. Because this is a new thing for us. We generally create the world and do all the steps. So to step into a process where the world exists and we only have to create how it moves in space. My wife loves theater, so it was a great opportunity for us to kind of practice and see how our process fits into that world. I think people should see Soil Beneath because it's
relevant.
It's relevant. It's new. Yeah, it's relevant and it's new. That's definitely a thing. But everybody in this project is committed.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Everybody in this project is trying to produce at a level and contribute. It felt harmonious. I mean, I've been in a lot of process, and it just really felt like you can tell when everybody's in the room wants to be in the room. You know what I mean? So if you want to see the manifestation of commitment toward a very present topic and give a very, hopefully a different alternative perspective and from what you may glean from what's happening now. And if anything, to take a little break from it. Art can either expose or relieve. And I think this work does both. Well, the company, the DynamitExperience, shared the E, was created in 2018 in response to opportunities to create work to teach work, to have these workshops. So we wanted to have a house that was ours, that kind of had could all those things could exist. So in 2018, in response to this show, I've never wanted the company to be named after me and vice versa. We always wanted to create a community, and we like dance that has structure, but we love dance that has humanity. And so that's where the experience part comes from. We want you to leave having an experience, you know what I mean, a visceral one, preferably, but also we want to tackle all the senses in our work. So that's why we are the Dynamite Experience. And my middle name is Dynamite. It's my legal middle name, and that we always thought that was just kind of funny. I said it in jest, but then I heard it and it was like, I don't hate it. Why not? I mean, why wouldn't you want to have a dynamite or dynamic experience? And so we just try to create the spectrum of that when and where we can. Since then, in response to COVID, we initially tried to join the wave of virtual contributions. We did weekly classes on, what were they?
We was doing weekly classes on Zoom.
Yeah,
We did,
like Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, like creative processes.
And then we invited some of our company members to hold classes during that as well.
We began to create, COVID gave us a lot of time to work on stuff. So we began to generate vocabulary and language for our curriculum that we're working on. And we've also began the works on creating a summer intensive program. It didn't fully make it into fruition, but we were able to get a lot of foundational blueprint of that. And because teaching is a huge part of what we do and how we want to contribute to dance aside from workshops and choreography. We've taken a bit of a break from our virtual experience because we've been working on teaching. We're both on faculty in various places here in Kansas City, and we're just working on us individually and building on the company and other aspects. So we have lots of stuff coming up. We're still establishing whether or not we want to be, non-for-profit. Like we're into the next stage of how we want to manage ourselves. But as far as the initiation, how do you create? It's really just about building your community. What is it that you want to say? How many entities do you need to say it? What other people do you need in the space to help you? Because Latra and I work creatively, choreographically, but we have people who do our media things because that's what they do. We believe fervently in allowing people's passion to guide how they do what they do. We're passionate about creating work. We're passionate about teaching and sharing in a dance format. So all the other parts that come with company, we have found and been very fortunate to build a team around us that we believe in what they do and how they do, and vice versa. We figure out how we can collaborate and merge those things so that we all can succeed. So when we say there are dancers, but we normally refer to our artists as our community. There are a community of artists. They're not just our dancers because they all participate in a wide range of ways.
Yeah, we have community dancers in our company right now that can do media for us. We have a few that are really good photographers. So they
grant writers.
They wear many hats. They not only
programming
on the Marley outside of that, but they also feed and help TD be what it is today.
And that's the one thing that we've taken away. We've been very fortunate in our dance career to work with a lot of different companies on a lot of different levels as far as their reach. And what we've known, the consistency of their success has been the community that supports them, and not just financially, but the ones that inspire them, the ones that help them through each step. So I would say building your community and knowing what you want to say. That's going to evolve, but having an initial thing is, I would say, the two things you absolutely need. The structure and the money, all those things will come. Working in New York, everybody has something else they're good at. You have to, you know what I mean? And so, again, being freelance artists that we have in the many different houses of dance that we've gone in, we've met different artists throughout our career, and throughout time, like we're doing a little project here, you want to come in and work with me on this, and then we slowly, it's about building relationships. You know, just because we're friends doesn't mean we work together well creatively. So you test those waters out, and then it works. You're like, okay, this works. We'll see you at the next project, and then that next project turns to the next one. And then as you build, you start bringing more consistent people with you, and then as you support, as they support you creatively, you want to support them creatively. So if they do photography, you win by getting photography of your work. They win by having opportunities in a very safe space to practice their passion. We spent this summer trying to create the template of it, but we had, it was a 2-week summer intensive. We were offering 3 various classes a day, ranging from ballet, contemporary, modern, and contemporary, either jazz, hip hop, or some fusion. And then what we have 2 different kinds of, based on your level, 2 different TDE, or the Dynamite Experience processes, where we kind of take you into either a rep that exists, or we actually take you through a new creation process. And that depends on, again, what level and how we place you. But that was pretty much going to be the template of our program. And then, like, we're going to do our best to have a culminating experience at the end. We were thinking for our first one, 2 weeks, and then when we tried, it was like maybe 1 week.
Maybe.
You know,
I mean, because everyone was still trying to figure out this virtual Zoom teaching. And by that time, I think a lot of the studios were starting to open back up. So then we had to compete with that. But besides that, we do have a solid template. So
it's
we're coming.
Yeah, what we're learning every day. Like, we've been in this profession almost 20 years. But being choreographers and directors of the company are still new to us. And so we're still learning like everybody else. And like COVID has put everybody on a different learning curve. You know what I mean? Dancers aren't necessarily known for their technical prowess. And so for us to have to kind of really delve into this and learn how to teach virtually, learn how to create. I'm creating a work on Adelphi University presently, and that's been a very rewarding challenge, but a challenge all the same. And I had the pleasure of doing the same thing with Manhattan Movement Arts Center. And so people are still creating, which is great, but now we're trying to figure out, how do you take this thing that is usually a 3-dimensional, in your face kind of, you feel the breath off the dancers, to now you're trying to create it in this 2-dimensional space, but you're used to seeing it in front of you and being able to touch. And our company is very hands-on. We're all about negative space and leaning and supporting, you know what I mean? And so now to take that out of our creativity is another way for us to find a way to create. Working with Paul Taylor, he would always put these limits on him. So we're aware of the benefits of that. So we're using this as an opportunity to, how do we like to create this palpable energy, this sense of need and community, without being able to touch, without being able to show that weight and support. So it's been taxing but rewarding.
Yeah.
Trying to have a company and be creative during these times.
I've been dancing since 6, actually younger than that, because I was putting on shows at home for my family. But I met him at University of Missouri, Kansas City, Dance Conservatory. He was a year above me.
Well, that's only because she transferred.
Yeah, I transferred, which was...
We should have graduated together. Should have just came on up.
Should have just came up on the first time, but
yeah.
You know.
But yeah, we met in college in 2001. I started dancing at the age of 8 in 1989, and then Yeah, I knew I wanted to be a dancer by the time I started taking ballet in 1994. So I've been at it since then. And we both graduated high school in 2000. I
Yeah.
graduated college in '04. She graduated in '05. And then we
And
moved to New York
yeah.
and joined Paul Taylor's second company. And we've been together trying to create and dance. We've been fortunate to dance in college together.
Mhm.
We've danced in Paul Taylor's second company together. We've danced in Williams Henry. We did a brief, quick, short, tiny show with them. We did Owen Cox, which is a
Yes.
local dance company in Kansas City. And then we also did
Stephanie Van
Stephanie Van
Bland.
Bland in New York.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
that's
we've
it.
been fortunate to work with each other.
Sean Kern, we did an opera in St. Louis. So we really try to take advantage of those opportunities to create together. A lot of people don't do it. A lot of people don't hire. We know how fortunate we were to be able to work together in other people's companies. You know what I mean? 'Cause it's hard for one dancer to get a job, let alone two in the same household. So we are definitely aware of how fortunate we are in regards to that, but we wanted more opportunities to do so. That's another reason why we created our company, so that we didn't have to wait on someone else to give us an opportunity to dance together or create with each other. We would just wake up and do it.
I think I like directing more than coming up. I mean, I can do it. It's not. It doesn't flow like water like it does for him. I'm very judgmental of my own stuff, so um, I didn't. I'm like slowly getting into my own voice of vocabulary, um, but for the most part, I usually just see what people are doing and direct and help them create a vision or direct them into a
The
something
beautiful,
that will come out.
I think that the reason why we work creatively is that I don't like to clean my own work, and no one understands my work better than her. And she can't look at her work long enough to get past the step. And I can clean anybody else's work because I love the storytelling and investing in the work. So what works is that we have an immense respect for the other person's voice and how they create, and we are prepared to do what we can to help it, come to fruition. So it's just a collaboration that works. I think that we're modern dancers. I think that we're contemporary modern dancers. I think that we both, because we have such a range of opportunities that we've had, we really just we do the step that's needed. If that's a ballet step, it's a ballet step. If it's an African inspired step, hip hop. If it's, something derived, Taylor-esque, AIM-esque, if it's something that's familiar, we try to figure out how does that exist in TDE world, and then we mess it up as much as possible so we don't recognize its origins, but that it becomes what we do and how we do. If you're on the website, check out www.DynamitExperience, sharethee.com, or Instagram and Facebook, same name. Stay tuned. We have a lot of things coming up, this project included, and we're out here and we're just getting started. So we're just building our community.